You can pause a fight without shutting the relationship down, and it all starts with a single sentence that sets a boundary before emotions take the wheel. What if your next conversation didn't sound like rejection, but like protection for your connection, leaving you both closer even when the tension is high? A low-drama exit works when you set a behavioral boundary mid-conflict, then keep the emotional connection intact. Watch how John Gottman tracked real couples in his lab, then found that the moments after a fight decide the relationship. In his work, repair attempts are small moves that stop the downward spiral, like shifting tone, acknowledging impact, or offering a timeout without hostility. When repair attempts show up, couples recover faster and the fight does less damage. Notice how a boundary script sounds like a handrail, not a door slam. It interrupts escalation by naming what you will do next, while also signaling you are still on the same team. You might say something like, "I hear you. I'm going to pause for 10 minutes so we do not hurt each other. Then I want to keep talking." This is why closeness can survive a pause. Your partner does not experience rejection because you are not withdrawing affection or abandoning them. You are changing behavior to protect both people. Your nervous system also benefits because the boundary creates a predictable landing instead of a chaotic argument runway. A boundary script is a structured exit that pauses escalation without a breakup vibe. Marsha Linehan built dialectical behavior therapy around skills for intense emotions, and Dear Man is one of them. Dear Man is a simple communication frame. Describe the situation, express how you feel, assert what you want, reinforce the why, stay mindful, and appear confident, all while keeping respect. In practice, that structure prevents the classic trap where one sentence becomes a weapon. Notice how your wording can exit the fight while staying warm. "I am getting overwhelmed, and I want this to go well. I need a short pause, then I will come back to talk." That is not refusal. It is a specific limit on behavior that makes it possible to return. Linehan emphasizes balancing acceptance with change. You acknowledge your partner's point, then you change what happens next by choosing a pause. That balance is what keeps your closeness alive while conflict cools. A low-drama exit becomes safe when it protects the bond, not when it proves who is right. Sue Johnson's emotionally focused therapy starts from a blunt idea: most relationship fights are about fear under stress, not about logic under calm. She teaches couples to shift from attacking each other to reaching for each other, even when emotions are high. In therapy, people learn to say what they need in a way that invites closeness rather than blame. Track how a boundary script can sound like reaching. "I am hurt right now, and I do not want to say something cruel. I'm going to pause, but I am still with you." This keeps the tone relational, so the other person does not hear "you are the problem." When you pause with a connection signal, your partner's brain has less reason to escalate. They can feel your intent even if the content is unfinished. That difference is often the line between a storm and a storm that ends. You preserve closeness by separating a limit on behavior from a verdict about the person. Marshall Rosenberg's nonviolent communication distinguishes observations from evaluations, feelings from interpretations, and requests from demand. The key is how you phrase what happens next, because a demand pressures while a request invites collaboration. When couples use NVC's language, they reduce the attack on identity that often fuels fights. Consider how your boundary sounds when it is framed as a request. When we raise our voices, I feel flooded. I need us to lower the volume for 10 minutes so I can think, and then I want your help finishing the conversation. Your partner may still be upset, but the message is not you are bad. This approach also prevents the rejection vibe that appears when you exit without describing the relational goal. You are not leaving the relationship, you are protecting the conditions for understanding. A boundary becomes a request for better behavior, not a verdict on character. A conflict pause helps when it is paired with a return signal that repairs momentum. Research by Bradbury and Fincham on couples shows that how partners handle conflict aftermath matters more than isolated minutes during the fight. Their findings point to recovery processes like de-escalation and problem talk that happen after emotions peak. In real couples, that recovery is what separates a bad moment from a lingering pattern. Notice how a boundary script can include a clean return path without bargaining for permission. A low-drama exit matches biology. You shift from threat mode to choice mode before the next sentence. James Gross, who has studied emotion regulation, explains that people can change emotional impact by reappraising what something means. Reappraisal means updating the story your mind tells about what is happening, like moving from "I am being attacked" to "we are both stressed and need slower pacing." In experiments, this kind of mental shift can change how strongly people react. Track how your boundary script can trigger that reappraisal out loud. This feels too sharp right now. I am going to pause because I want to understand you, not because I reject you. The boundary labels the state without judging your partner. It gives your brain a new meaning for the moment. When you pause with that mental reset, the fight stops steering your behavior. You become more likely to return with steadier words. Closeness grows because your actions start to match your intent. You avoid rejection vibes when you name the behavior limit and leave the relationship story intact. In difficult conversations, Douglas Stone, Bruce Patton, and Sheila Heen describe how people often argue about the story they assume the other person is telling. One person thinks, "They do not respect me," while the other thinks, "I am explaining." Those stories produce different reactions, even when the facts overlap. Notice how a boundary script can slow the story loop. I think we are talking past each other. I'm going to pause this conversation so we can reset, and I will start again with what I meant. That keeps your partner from hearing your side is invalid. When you control the conversation pace instead of attacking the meaning, you create space for shared reality. The pause becomes a tool for accuracy. Closeness survives because you are still working toward understanding, not winning. A calm exit works better when you label the emotion as a state, not a weapon. Dan Siegel popularized Name It to Tame It, a plain idea from affects science and mindful awareness. Naming what you feel can lower emotional intensity. Tom, here means your reaction gets less automatic, so you can choose words instead of firing them. People often feel this in everyday life when a quick label like "I am anxious" reduces the panic spiral. Consider how your boundary script can use that naming tone without blame. I notice I'm getting activated. I am going to step away for a few minutes, so my words stay respectful, then I want to continue. This frames the limit as care for both of you. Your partner hears information instead of rejection. They can interpret the pause as regulation, not punishment. Emotional labeling keeps the bond intact because it signals safety even while intensity is high.